this week? Recording in progress. Right. What are we working out this week? Yeah, what are we working out this week? So this week we've got a new topic, and that is the world to come. Okay, so let's do a bit of a straw poll of our members so far. If I told you the world to come, if I said those words, what does that mean?
Like Shemaim, what
Pardon?
happens after Shemaim? What happens after you die?
Okay. What does that
Uh,
mean?
Gan Eden?
Gan Eden, okay. There's actually an old age home in Manchester called Gan Eden.
Oh, dear.
Not that.
It's a remark, yeah, yeah. Anyway, imagine saying my grandma is currently in Gan Eden. Anyway, go on, sorry, keep going. Um,
Go on, say again.
so you think it's, Shemaim, heaven, something after we go to die. So firstly, it should not surprise you, maybe it will, to know that the term the world to come doesn't necessarily mean that according to everyone. Yeah? Because really, there are two phases of history after this world. You've got the world of souls, namely after the body dies, or after whatever, after the person dies, and then you've also got the world of resurrection of the dead in Moshiach's time. That is also known as the world to come. Yeah. So which is the real world to come?
Is that going to be a forever state, or is that in preparation for the sort of Shemaim thing we were talking about?
That would depend on which is the main one. If resurrection is the main one, then the Shemaim one is preparation for that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that is a big argument we're going to get into. Okay. So let's start.
Rabbi, what are we talking about here? Olam Haba? Like, what's the Hebrew for what
Yeah,
we're
Olam Haba, exactly. The
into?
translation is actually pretty accurate, the world to come. It's actually quite a good translation. It just doesn't explain what it is. But neither does Olam Haba, neither does that term. So we're good. Right? Okay, so let's start from the very, 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 very beginning, which is why is it axiomatic that the world to come must exist? Whatever it is, right? Why is that axiomatic? Yeah, fair question.
Aren't we told that the rewards are not for this world? Like everything, the mitzvahs are not for this world. They're preparation for the world to come.
Good, excellent. That's basically the direction, meaning this world doesn't seem like it's the final destination. The way the Mesilas Yesharim puts it is that we wouldn't have such a powerful soul if it was just to be used in this world. Right? Meaning, what's the point of a soul that doesn't really get any pleasure from all the good stuff that you do in this world? I don't mean the mitzvahs. I mean like all the good ice cream and the challah and the kiddush and the chollah and when it's the soul doesn't get any pleasure from that. Even if it ends up on your shirt, the soul doesn't get any pleasure from that. So what would be the point of putting us in a world which the soul isn't properly comfortable in to do what? Right? That's the way the Mesilas Yesharim puts it. Yeah. And then he gets a little bit more morbid and he says, well, the truth is, didn't Hashem create us to earn reward and enjoy that reward? Right? Those are our steps in why did God create a world? He's ultimate goodness. Goodness means giving good to others. That means there must be a place that you enjoy that good. Right? Without being morbid, because the world can be very pleasurable, but that place of ultimate reward and goodness and clarity ain't this world. Proof being the existence of CNN or BBC. Yeah, right? Meaning, it's not a world of clarity. Yeah.
Okay.
Offense to those in, I believe, Atlanta, the home of CNN. If anyone's tuning in from there. But it's not. Well, it's the world isn't the Lolech. You know what I mean? It's not. It's not that our, if you like, anchor is not in this world. Yeah.
Haven't we got some direct proofs of this as well? Like I'm just thinking, there's a very unusual mitzvah of shooing away the mother bird that it hit. I think it says explicitly this something happens in the world to come for this.
Yeah. I mean, we have loads of like writings and stuff, and there are hints to it in the Torah, etc. I was just going with the kind of basic logical, how do you know? But you're right, there are loads of sources as well, 100%. Yeah, 100%. All of that as well. Okay, so that is in terms of how we know. You know what I mean? How we know it exists, just logically. Okay. Now the question is, what on earth is it? What on earth is it? So If I can somehow share my screen, that would be amazing. I don't want that. Oh, that's cool. Ah,
Yeah.
don't want that.
Yeah.
No internet. That's lovely.
Yeah.
Don't want that either. Don't want that. Oh my goodness. Don't want that. Oh, I don't want that. I want that. Right. I'm going here to Olam Haba. So I can click on it.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. So I want to get 139.
Doesn't look like it links.
Pardon?
It's not linking for you.
No, but what's it called? Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Ta-da! Okay,
Yeah.
is it big enough?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Right. So I just did that. Now, the question is, what is it? Right, now here's the hard bit, and it goes as follows. Okay, the Rav Yosef Berei Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi, it's Gemara in Pesachim. Chalash, he was weak, this nagid, and he fainted. Right, this rabbi in the Gemara was weak, he fainted. Kihada, when he came to it, Amalei Avua, his father said to him, "My chazis, what did you see? Did you get a peek behind the curtain? Next world, what did you see?" Amalei, he said to him, Olam Hafach Ra'isi. I saw like an upside down world. There were Elyonim Lamata. There were those who in this world were high, but they were low on a low level down there, as people we looked up to, not necessarily religiously, but people who were kind of dominant and famous, etc. in this world, precipice and high and on a pedestal, that's the word, but they were on a low level in the next world. The Tachtonim and people who we saw as low in this world, and I was like, nah, no one kind of amazing or whatever. Lamala, they were actually some of them on a high level in the next world. Yeah, that's what he said. Right, you got peak.
Can I ask, like, just a sort of point of order, really? What was Rabbi Yehoshua thinking? Like, why would he ask Rav Yosef this? What did he fainted? So it can't have been a prophecy because he was feeling weak or whatever. And you have to be like in a very happy state for like. Why did he even think to ask this? And what credit do we need to put to what Rav Yosef says? Because he wasn't in a prophetic state. So whatever he said was whatever he said. But like, how does that work?
Good question. You mean, why would he have thought that he got a glimpse of the next world? I don't know.
Yeah, and what faith do we need to? What sort of faith, and maybe the wrong word, but what level of confidence do we need to put on this? Because it wasn't a prophecy. With the guy fainted, like.
Yeah, he must have had some form of vision. It must have had some form of vision. Whether you call it prophetic or I don't know exactly how you define it, but it must be had some sort of vision that it was, it had credence. Yeah. But I don't know exactly what definition is. A prophecy, a dream, Ruach HaKodesh, I kind of don't know where that is. Yeah.
When was this, roughly?
Pardon?
When was this, roughly? We're talking about hundreds of years ago?
Yeah, the Gemara's time. So a couple, 1,000 years ago plus. A couple of thousand years ago, probably.
Yeah.
So he said, Amalo Bini, he said to him, my son, Olam Boro Ra'isa, you've said, you've seen a correct world. Yeah, in other words, it's not you haven't seen a false world, you've seen the correct world, right? You've seen it right. You haven't seen an inverted world, you've seen a clear world. In other words, the world to come and this world are clearly matched in some way, because what you do here is commensurate with what you get up there. Right? Again, we haven't defined it, but this world is full of muddle and lack of clarity and all that kind of stuff. Right? The next world is the world of clarity. Now, the question is, what is the next world? So let's have a look. This is a massive debate between the Rambam, that's and the Ramban, that's Okay? And what is the next world? Meaning, everyone agrees you've got two phases. You've got the world of souls after we die, and you've got the world of Tchias HaMesim, meaning resurrection. Yeah? The question is, which is the main and which is the means? Yeah, I'll say it like that. In other words, is the main world the world of souls? And just at some point in history, you also have to have the resurrection for whatever reasons. We'll have to deal with that. Or no, maybe the real world is the world of resurrection, where body and soul enjoy reward together, not just soul. And the world of souls is like a bit of a kind of heavenly parking lot until that happens. Yeah.
Sorry to
Yeah.
go back to that story just now, just for clarity. Is
Yeah.
this rabbi saying that what he saw was in the physical world or in a spiritual world?
Probably the spiritual one.
Okay.
I would
So
guess.
then, as a follow-up question to that, then is where do we get this idea that we will be in a spiritual world as opposed to a physical world? And just for some additional context, like when I like to understand Judaism, it's that we're here to, unlike other religions, we're the religion of like taking the physicality, the physical world and enjoying it and using it and treating it with respect. And, it's not, we don't abstain from things. And so, and even like Adam and Eve were, said to be in this world, right? So like the physical world, not in Shamayim. So where do we get this idea that we will end up in a spiritual world as this Olam Haba and not the physical world?
Where do
Sure, sorry, if it doesn't make sense.
oh, I see. Okay, so we're going to deal with, the Ram's going to deal with that partly. Just partly is observation, meaning after a person passes away, where you mean where are they going? There's no like island to go to with physical. It's a world of
Yeah,
souls.
but then for them, we know that there's obviously the idea of resurrection. There's the physical aspect, which is resurrection. There's a spiritual aspect, which is reincarnation, right? Both are two principles of Judaism as well. So, but both of those end up still here in this physical world. I haven't come across, maybe you can fill it in. I haven't come across this idea of us ending up in Shamayim, in heaven, in a spiritual world. It always seems to be here in the physical world. Yes, part physical beings and part spiritual beings, but
Right.
still here in the physical world.
You mean even within our bodies, basically? Yes, I'm just not sure that's true. Meaning, there are elements of resurrection, etc. That's happening, and reincarnation according to most. But the fact that their body and soul, sorry, the fact that there's a world of souls is also very kind of pretty well documented. Again, not because people have experienced it and come back, right? But because that would, I would say, be the normative understanding of the world to come.
I guess maybe just to help me really solidify this, what is like one of the main sources of this world of souls as a place where we end up, not where not where our soul has come from, but where we end up.
Right, so we're going to see quite a few of them. This Rambam deals with it, talks about it. The Gemara in Brachas talks about it, and we'll get to later why the Torah doesn't explicitly talk about any of this. Meaning, the Torah does talk about things like kares, meaning the soul being cut off from its natural place, implying that it's going to be a natural place, right? But the Torah doesn't overtly describe or kind of at length mention this at all. Much like it doesn't really talk about the world of the resurrection massively. And that will deal at the end of this unit that we're going to deal with. There's 7 different explanations as to why the Torah did that.
You talked about, everyone says there's 2 phases. Did I hear you right?
Yes.
This world and then the next world, and the question is, is the next world this kind of spiritual parking lot, and then the resurrection? If we think that the ultimate ending up place is the spiritual world, then does that mean there's 3 phases? You've got the parking lot idea, then the resurrection, and then after the resurrection, everyone will end up in Shemayim, in the spiritual place.
No, I don't know why you have that third place. That 1 and 3 that you described are the same. You've got your spiritual world, there might need to also
in
be
linear time. In linear, like a person, if the ultimate is the spiritual thing, then when you come back to resurrection, what does that mean?
Oh, we're going to deal with that. There's a temporary phase of massive Kiddush Hashem to show a perfect world, which is the resurrection.
Okay.
Yeah, but you're right. That's according to the Rambam. That's not the end goal.
I'm getting ahead of your book.
Pardon?
I'm getting ahead of your book.
Yeah, you should buy 2 copies when it's ready, Gideon. Understand it even more. Okay, so like this. The Rambam says like this: Olam Haba, the next world, Ein lo guf v'gvia, doesn't have a body. There's nothing physical about it. El nefashos hatzadikim bilvad, you've got the souls of the righteous, like people who learn on a Wednesday night. Below guf, without a body, kamalache hashares, a bit like angels. right? And in fact, then he goes on to say, he says, "V'lo ye'era davar bo min advarim shema'arim legufas b'olam hazeh." Nothing that happens to the body in this world happens in the next world. There's no sitting, standing, sleeping, death, sadness, happiness. There just is. Yeah, and he quotes from the rabbis. He
No
says,
free will either, right?
correct. But you can still receive reward based on what you did in this world. Like compound interest. You caused that ripple effect, and you know what I mean? Let's give for example, if you donated to seed and then that, no, I'm joking, whatever. Let's say you donated a siddur to a shul or whatever, and that's still being used. Or you set something emotional, you set something up. That's like compound, what's the word? Reward, basically. Compound interest.
We also have the custom of davening in memory of and giving charity in memory of, in order to
100%.
elevate soul.
Yeah, 100%. All of that will help as well, 100%. Yeah. So he quotes the rabbis in the Gemara, Kach amru chachamim rishonim, olam haba, ein bola achilo le'shtia, there's no eating, drinking, etc. That doesn't happen in the next world. Okay? The Ravid, who's one of the commentaries on the Rambam, says, hello, you missed out. What about the world of Tchias HaMesim? Right? Excuse me, what about the world of resurrection? Right? In other words, the Ravid is asking, well, hold on a second, the real main world, is resurrection, not the world of souls. Right? Let me just distill this a little bit better. I'm going to present you with two different worlds, the world of the Rambam and the world of the Ramban. And it's fine, we can have arguments about these things. Like, we don't need to shy away from that, but just exactly what each one holds. You ready for this, Gideon? I think you'll like this.
Bring it on.
All right, yeah, bring on. The Rambam says that the world to come, the main world to come, is the world of souls. Why? Because real reward is only for the soul. The body is a bit like a spacesuit. You need it for this world, but your real you is the soul, and the only thing that gets rewarded is the soul. Okay? Now, so what's this Tchias HaMesim business? Well, how does that work? Yeah. Well, why do you have to have resurrections? He says it's a time to show that Hashem can make this world perfect, ultimate Kiddush Hashem, but it's not the end. It's not the end. And in fact, the Rambam they say, the Rambam, that therefore, even at Tchias HaMesim, resurrection, at some point people will still die because they need to get to their proper world, which is the world of souls after death. Yeah? That's one viewpoint. The Ramban, another viewpoint, says, I wouldn't say the opposite, but very different. It says, no, the real world to come is the world of body and soul together, meaning after resurrection. Yeah, very nice. After resurrection. Fine. If it's after resurrection, what is it that this midway, this kind of world of souls is? So that's like a parking lot. That's a mean time. That's like meanwhile, waiting. Right? Is there some reward up there as well? Maybe, yeah, probably. I assume so. Right? But the main thing is body and soul together. And that's a resurrection. And at that point, no one will die subsequently. Right? You'll have all sorts of spin-off arguments of what's going to be in that world to come. Sorry, what's going to be in that phase of resurrection based on whether it's the main world or not. How supernatural will it be? Will we need to eat? Will we need to work? Will people die? All that kind of stuff. Good?
And you're saying, was it the Rambam that said that the main world is the resurrection?
No, the Ramban. No.
The Ramban, so Nachmanides. So,
Yeah.
And so if the main world is the resurrection, then the Ramban is the person saying, once you have the resurrection of the dead, there will be no further deaths.
Yes, 100%, 100%. Yeah, and that's a major, major debate in Jewish thought. But that's fine. We can live with debate. That's all right. It's totally fine.
Does he say anything about this world that it sounds, what you're describing, a lot of it sounds like angels, sounds like malachim, like no eating, no working, no free will.
Yeah, the Rambam actually makes that comparison himself, to be honest.
And it's interesting that, because if you I learned recently that human people and angels are not too dissimilar in terms of how you'd classify them. I know this is a bit far-fetched, but as a species, we're actually very, very similar. There's a big crossover there. So so yeah, so he goes into it and he speaks about how this could be a time of sort of morphing into angels in some way.
A certain sense. Basically, we're stripped from our spacesuit. You kind of
Right.
just sort of the soul. That's just the soul. Yeah, I'll put on the screen some of the text in English that discusses this. Right? He's got over here. The second view is the world of sorry. Yeah, is the Ramban after resurrection, etc. And he's got the temporary holding stage for the world of souls. Good? Yeah, okay,
Yep.
so that's the argument. What we're going to do, and we're going to have to finish early because there's no way we can start this now, is the one lingering question, which is why the world to come isn't mentioned clearly in the Torah.
Oh,
Yeah, it's quite, we can kind of rush it a little bit, but I don't think it's worth it. Why is it that the world to come is not mentioned in the Torah? Right? Meaning, why should it be? Why should that be basically? Yeah, if it's such a major thing in a fulcrum, why is it not there? So there are quite a few really, really good answers. There's 7 of them. We're not going to do all of them. About it's actually 2 questions. Number one, when the Torah talks about reward, why does it couch it in physical terms? In other words, it talks about rain and all that kind of stuff. Number one, and number two, when the Torah talks about sorry, and then you've got the fact that Torah leaves out the world to come. So actually split into 2 questions. Yeah? Okay, we're going to stop a little bit early tonight because it is ridiculous trying to rush this part. That is your ABC on the world to come. We good?
okay.
Can
Okay.
everyone has to levitate back down to this world, please? Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Please, God.
Thank you.
See everyone
Thank you
next
very
week.
much.
We've got
Enjoy the sunshine.
Thank you. Yeah. Very good. All right. Only good things, please, God.
Yeah, indeed.
See you.
Thank you.
Bye, thanks. Bye.